Hi, everyone. We have a brand new day, and it's a day the Lord has made possible for the two of us, all of us, to make sure we do what He has assigned us on earth to do. This morning, we shall walk ourselves through our lecture, EDC 241, Psychology of Human Development and Learning. Psychology of Human Development and Learning. The course Psychology of Human Development and Learning is tailored towards our learning to make sure we understand the processes that we go through as humans, so that when we find in our classes variations regarding those that we engage, we can know how best to engage them and understand their situations or their peculiarities. So this morning happens to be our second week of lecture, and this is what we have for you as an outline. We shall discuss the male and female reproductive systems. We shall discuss conception. We shall discuss prenatal development, where we'll make clear to you germinal stage, embryonic stage, and final stage of prenatal development. And again, we shall end our lecture with the threats to prenatal development. And these threats are biological, environmental, inclined. This is the male reproductive organ. It has several parts with several functions. Each of them has a role to play in our system. So if you are a man this morning, you can open up your zip and check that long thing in front of you. It will look so simple, but very complex and complicated. The several aspects of the male reproductive system will be explained in our next slide. It contains organs. It contains organs that make up the reproductive system and our urinary system. These organs include the bladder. The bladder is the storage of blood. The seminal vesicle, it nourishes spermatozoa. The urethra, the channel through which sperm or urine passes. We have the prostate gland, the one that controls our bowels. And we have the pubic bone. The pubic bone houses the whole system. So what function do these organs play in us? Each of them have a role to play, aside what man and woman does. So let's go back and see what we can see or talk about them. We have the bladder, pubic symphysis, prostate gland, corpus spongiosum, urethra, foreskin, pelvis, glands, urethra opening, that is the meatus. And we have the seminal vesicle, ejaculatory duct, rectum, anus, vas deferens, epididymis, testicles, and scrotum. All these are found in the male reproductive system. This is the female reproductive system. If you are a female this morning, you can just pull down your pants or your undie, admire your own natural beauty from within or below, and you see what you have. You may see it to be so simple, but it has so internal aspects that work to your benefit. So within this picture, we have the fallopian tube, which is a channel through which the egg is released, and the egg is called ova when it is one. Ova or ovum. Ovum when it is one. When there are many, is ova, produced by the ovary. Ovary. You have the ureterus. You have the ureterus. The ureterus is the inner aspect of the woman where the ovum is released into. This is where development of a child begins or starts. We have the cervix, the fragile part of the woman that appear painful when a pressure mounts on it. So when you engage a woman in a sexual bout and the woman show or experience a pain, the pain is exerting from the cervix. We have the vagina, that's the opening of the human reproductive aspect. We have the myometrium. Myometrium is a spongy tissue in the woman that makes the woman's system ready for menstruation. We have endometrium. It also makes or cleans the uterus for implantation to occur. So these are the notes on those aspects of the female reproductive organ which we discussed. So the oviduct or the fallopian tube receives the ova from the ovary towards the uterus. The ovaries, they are the gonads or the producers of the ova. And every month, a mature ova or ovum is made from every woman. And it is pushed down or released into the fallopian tube or the oviduct. The uterus holds and nourishes the development of fetus and makes sure you and I develop to become children or a child or a human being. The cervix is the door to the female reproductive system. It also allows or gives way to the spermatozoa into the uterus through the endocervical canal, and it produces mucus to facilitate the flow or facilitate the sperm entry or the swimming of the spermatozoa. We have the vagina, which is muscular in nature. It's a tube that receives the penis during intercourse or sexual bout. And again, the vagina allows a child to leave the mother's uterus. So it is the opening of the female reproductive system. When we talk about conception, conception occurs when a male gamete and a female gamete meets. So when we say male gamete, is a sperm. When we say female gamete, is the ova. When the two of them meet, they form a zygote, and fertilization starts from that. So human life starts from conception. Surprisingly, as of today, no one knows when the sperm and the egg met, and no one will be able to know until their kingdom come. Why? Because human beings are bad, and the Almighty God has made it in a way that you can never and ever know when the sperm meets the egg to fuse together to form a zygote for fertilization or the life of a person starts. Every female produces an egg every month, and in between the ages of 11 going, you are able to produce it. And if you produce, the egg is released into the uterus, waiting for a healthy sperm to fertilize it. So if there's no healthy sperm, you experience your menstrual cycle or you experience your period. Several communities and several villages, several nations have ways in articulating the menstrual cycle. It is possible that when an egg is released and a mature sperm is also produced, you can conceive to become pregnant. One egg can be released at a time, but there are many instances more than one egg is released. And when more than one egg is released, you can give birth or become pregnant for twins, or two stubborn spermatozoa can enter one egg, making you give birth to identical twins. So the foundation of human life is conception, or the start of our life is conception. Ovulation in women usually happens 2 weeks before your next period. So at this period, if you engage in any sexual act, you are likely to pick a seed. And when you pick a seed, it's not about a seed that we used to plant. in our farmlands. No. The seed here I mean is you pick a spermatozoa that can get you pregnant as a woman. When the egg is released, it has a lifespan. The egg has a lifespan, meaning the period that it can use to maintain its healthiness on Earth, and it is 24 hours. However, the male spermatozoa can last for 48 hours. So, if you are that utility player as a woman, you go engage in sexual bout thinking that the male spermatozoa can be urinated out. Mind you, some are stubborn. They can be in your system for a very long hours, and the long hours is 48 hours. So if you are not lucky and you go and engage yourself in sexual bout again, after thinking that the moment you left was a free period, you can become pregnant. That is why you are almost taken by surprise. Sometimes you knew that, yeah, you are not in your ovulation period, so you cannot get pregnant. You go engage yourself in a sexual bout only for you to be taken by surprise because your system has received sperm. So today, no woman has a free period. No woman has a free period. If you think you have a free period 5 days after your last menstrual cycle, you are being deceived. You can get pregnant at any time. The euphoria of the act can let you ovulate. The euphoria of the act, the sweetness of the act can let you ovulate. Some of you may say, how? Why is it that you receive or you experience your menstruation the day before yesterday? You meet a stressful situation, you menstruate again. Was it sickness? No, because your system has changed. A gentleman or a man can engage in a sexual bout that can lead you to be so happy, and that happiness can let you release an egg to meet a sperm and get pregnant. So don't be surprised. You don't have a free period. If you are not ready, defend yourself with any sexual device. Defend yourself with any sexual device so that you can prevent pregnancies that are not planned in your life. We have prenatal stages. But let's go back. We have two ways someone can get conceived. We have the artificial way and we have the natural way. With the artificial way, man and woman conjugate, or they meet, have sexual intercourse. Each of them donate the gamete for you to get fertilized. The artificial ways are three. We have the artificial insemination, where a sperm is taken from the man and deposited just in front of the cervix for them to travel so that they will shorten their traveling journey into the uterus. We have the surrogate mothering, where a woman cannot keep a fertilized egg in the system or cannot carry a baby. A mother is borrowed. A woman volunteers, take money in a contractual basis and conceive for the man, give birth, they take the child away from the woman and pay off the woman. Now, the child from the surrogate mother do not have the properties of the mother that he or she is given to, but has the properties of the father, because the woman was given a contract to produce the child and go away. We have in vitro. With in vitro, the child is manufactured outside. The male spermatozoa, the female ova are taken out, nurtured in a lab, and planted into the woman's womb or left in the lab to mature within the 9 months, and then it is given birth to, it becomes the bona fide child of the woman, it becomes the bona fide child of the man. They are very expensive. You and I cannot do it when it comes to in vitro. But surrogate mother, we can do it. Let's say, for instance, I want Akosua, or I'm married to Akosua, but Akosua cannot give birth. So we went to see Mansa. Mansa says, yes, I can give birth. So have a sex with me as a man. When I give birth, I'll give the child to you, then you pay me off. That is surrogate mothering. And it's the problem of the woman. With artificial insemination is a problem of the man, where the man's spermatozoa cannot travel. They don't have the strength to travel that far from the vagina. So it is taken from the man and deposited just in front of the cervix, so that they will just travel small or a little and enter the uterus. That is what we term as artificial insemination. We have the prenatal development as indicated earlier. The prenatal development is the development before birth. Development before birth. It is divided into three trimesters. The first 3 months is the first trimester. Second 3 months, making it 6, is the second trimester. Third trimester, making it 9 months, is the last or the third trimester. Within this, there are several things that occur in human life. And we have the prenatal stages within the main prenatal stage. It is divided psychologically into 3: germinal stage, embryonic stage, and fetal stage or fetal stage. Some books will tell you fetal, other books will tell you fetal. It all depends on which grammar you are using. Fetal is the British, fetal is the American. You can use them interchangeably and you cannot be, or you will not be penalized. Ideally, one sperm does not make its way into the fallopian tube. One sperm makes its way into the fallopian tube and burrows into the egg, and it fertilizes the egg. So the fusion of both the male and female gametes, the fusion of the sperm and the egg, is what we term as zygote. Over here, every human being that we see, whether man or woman, possesses 46 chromosomes. And these chromosomes, they go in pairs, 2-2, from mother and father. So 23 pair each from your mother, 23 pair each from your father. And the two coming together makes the 46. The first 22 pairs is the life chromosomes, and the last pair is the sex chromosome. The female chromosome is XX. The female chromosome is XX, and the male chromosome is XY. The female chromosome is XX, and the male chromosome is XY. So, when your father and your mother met, each of them donated these to make you and I, whether you are male or female. So anytime at all the man releases a chromosome of X, it means automatically the child is a female. Anytime at all the man removes or releases a chromosome Y, it means the child is a male. So the gender determination of our children is dependent on the father and not the mother. The gender determination of the child is dependent on the father and not the mother. We understand the fact that many women today are suffering from their married homes or marital homes, not for anything, because their grandparents or their in-laws or even their mothers or fathers are yearning for a particular child or gender of a child, sex of a child, of which they will not be able to produce. Please, from today, anywhere you are challenged to give birth to a child of a particular sex or gender, tell whoever that is worrying you that what the mom gives is what you offer. What the man gives is what you offer. And you can't give birth on your own. You can't give birth on your own without the man giving you that. Within the germinal stage, it lasts for only 2 weeks. So we see the zygote changing itself into a jelly-like object. When I say jelly-like, It spread like a fried egg. It turns like a fried egg, more sticky, appear to be liquid-like but not liquid. It does that in able to stay in the uterus. And we call the process of staying in the uterus by attaching itself to the uterine wall as implantation. So implantation occurs when the jelly-like object or the blastocyst attaches itself to the uterine wall. The blastocyst is when the zygote changes its structure, make itself available to be able to attach or hang on. When it hangs on the uterine wall, it becomes stabilized for growth and development to begin or to continue from that angle. So implantation marks the end of the germinal stage, and as usual, it starts the process of embryonic stage. The embryonic stage has 8 weeks, 2 months, including that of the germinal stage, As I was saying, the embryonic stage lasts for 2 months or 8 weeks. But mind you, there are instances whereby the egg might not even travel down to the uterus. When the egg is unable to travel down to the uterus, it leads to ectopic pregnancy. The ectopic pregnancy occurs in the fallopian tube or the oviduct, where the egg refuses to travel down for reasons best known to them. And all this depends on the hormonal workings of the individual female. So if your hormones are not working the way they're supposed to work and allow the system to work the way they're supposed to work, it can lead to all these things. Ectopic pregnancy does not stay. There is something dangerous that can lead you to death. So when you experience it, they do tubal ligation. This tubal ligation is a process of tying the knot or the edge of the fallopian tube in order to cease or to prevent frequent occurring of ectopic pregnancy, in order to save the woman's life. This is the object of the female reproductive system, and this shows both the germinal stage and then embryonic stage. Within the embryonic stage of the 8th week, there's something we call cell division. And this cell division is rapid, where several components are erupting from the fetus. These several components are erupting as a result of the changes or as a result of the life period that the fetus has stayed in your system. And this division is what we term as differentiation. We call it differentiation. Within the embryonic state, there are several layers, and the layers are ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. The layers are ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Ectoderm is the outer layer, which is responsible for our skin, hair, and so on and so forth. Mesoderm is our muscles and tissues. And then the endoderm, the middle layer that we found ourselves, the linings, our gastral lines that we see. So you can see what we have in each of them. Ectoderm, nervous system and skin. Mesoderm, skeletal, kidney, reproductive tract, and the rest. Endoderm, the endocrine glands, the lungs, digestive tract, the liver. Those we can find within us. When the child ends the embryonic stage, we see a true bone cell. A true bone cell. A bone cell is the thing that, or a component of the human being that makes us bony. It makes us bony. Once you see the appearance of a true bone cell, it means the embryonic stage has ended, and that begins the fetal stage. This is an embryo, as you can see in the picture. Now, the fetal stage. The fetal stage lasts for 38 to 40 weeks, approximately 9 months. Approximately 9 months. This 38 to 48 weeks, the individual child possesses all that they want, and when giving birth to, they can withstand the pressure of our environment. Over here, there are instances that a child may not reach the 38 weeks, but they can give birth to, we call it a preterm. Some other times they go beyond the 38 to 40 weeks, and we call it postterm. It can prolong your birth. It can prolong your birth. And women of today, because of the pain they experience, they wouldn't want the child to remain there. They'll go in for an artificial way of childbirth, or they will take a drug to propel the child to come. But listen, if you take such drugs, it can go against the child. It can lead to several deformities that you never thought of. It can kill the brain cells of the child. And when the brain cells of the child are killed, the child cannot work. The child can be abnormal or will be abnormal and become a burden on you, the parent, when they are giving birth to. So allow the natural environment of the child, make the thing happen. Don't force the child out if the child is ready to come out. Don't go and take any concoctions because you are experiencing restrictions or constrictions that are very painful. It is normal. When you give birth, it will come or it will stop. So this is the child ready to come. And the child comes through or using the head as first. But if any child is born without the head coming first, the child cannot pass through the natural birth canal of the mother. The child needs to come out through the artificial means, which we call cesarean section. Cesarean section. We have something we call critical periods in the prenatal development. This critical periods that we term as prenatal development occurs when some organs of the unborn baby are being developed. Over here, the mother is advised to live a life that will not go against the child. So if you do things that are dangerous, it may go against the unborn child, and it will lead to death. It will lead to malformations or abnormalities in the unborn child. Usually, even in the uterus, the environment might not be all that conducive. If the environment is not conducive, it goes against the developing child and can lead to deformities that are so daring and so dangerous to the child. So mothers, let's be careful. After the fetal stage will lead to birth, which is labor. Some people will pronounce it labor. It all depends on where you attended your JHS. So labor is the process by which the fetus and the placenta leave the uterus. And we have two ways that delivery can occur. Delivery can occur through the vagina, that is natural, or cesarean, which is artificial. Why must we not go in for the natural childbirth, but go in for the cesarean? Women of today wouldn't want to pass through that pain of squeezing themselves, pushing a child out. So they'll end up going for cesarean. Some women also have the perception that if they give birth through their vagina, the vagina will be too big that when they engage sexuality, they will not enjoy it. That is not the case. Or their partners will tell them that they have a bigger opening, so they'll go out in for someone who is having a smaller opening. That is fallacious in nature. That is a lie. Remember, the vagina has a natural cleansing object that shrinks it when you give birth. So those who having the misconception that when you give birth, your vagina become big and not closed, so your man will not enjoy the sex, and because of that, you go in for cesarean section. Stop it. Don't do it. Give birth through the natural birth canal, and the system will change to where is supposed to be, or will change to its size. Some of you, because of that, when you give birth through the natural birth canal, the vagina, you go and buy vaginal wash and you wash it. You are drying your vagina. You are not only closing it, you are drying it. It will shrink like a dry fish. Don't do it. You may think it's so tight, but if you have a closer look at it, you may see that it is not the way it used to be even before your childbirth. It means you are bringing things that are not usual into your system. Some of you will boil water very hot and sit on it. We are not controlling sitting on lukewarm water. Lukewarm water is good because it can cure the bruises that you may have through the childbirth. But it's not about boiling it, cooking it. Don't cook your vagina. If you cook, you eat it yourself. You have the repercussions later. So these are the factors that can lead you. And these factors are not controlled by you. Prolonged childbirth. You have tried all your best. You are pushing the child is not coming. They will do cesarean. When the child does not position itself very well, they will do cesarean. Instead of the head coming first, the hand is coming. The child can never ever give it to, because they will get stuck. So we need to do cesarean. We need to do cesarean. We have the fetal distress, the tiredness of the child can let the child not even put any effort. So we do cesarean. And when we have birth defects, you have a defect in your system, a problem in your system that can lead to cesarean, we do that. And when a woman has passed through so many cesarean sessions, the system becomes used to that. So we do cesarean again for the child to come. We have threats. We have threats. Threats are things that go against us. That against us means it go against the true life of the child. And there are two, environmental and the biological. Within the biological, we have the chromosomal and we have the genetic. So with the chromosomal, we have Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, and Turner syndrome. The Down syndrome occurs when we have extra chromosomes. Remember, I said earlier that we have 46 chromosomes in any normal human being, but there are instances you may have more than that. Instead of 46, you get 47, which occurs at the 21st pair and lead to a Down syndrome child. And the Down syndrome child can be termed as Mongolism or trisomy 21. Mongolism or trisomy 21. Down syndrome children are mentally retarded. They look alike. They have a big tongue. When they are talking, it's very funny. And they can be so hilarious. They can make you laugh. We can have the Klinefelter. Klinefelter occurs when we have an extra Y or an extra X in the normal X, leading us to have a super male or super female. They have a stable neck. They are also mentally retarded. They can be so dangerous. They have criminal oriented or they have criminal traits. We have the Turner syndrome. Turner syndrome is the problem of the woman. Instead of 2XX, they have X0. And the child can have underdeveloped sexual reproductive system. Such an individual can grow, become an adult, but they can never and ever have a child because their reproductive gonads are underdeveloped because of the absence of the X. We have fragile eggs. A tip of the egg is broken that leads to malformation in your reproductive system, and that person cannot have a child. We have the biological threats. We have the Hershey's factor or blood incompatibility or erythroblastosis. When the blood is not compatible, male and female bloods are not compatible, it leads to the RH factor, Hess's factor. Here, the body becomes sensitized. The moment the man donates the gamete, the system becomes sensitized and they get rid of it. They don't want it to stay because it's alien. If the child happens to be able to stay for the first time, that's the only child that mother and father can have. But a child may have complications in life. We have the genetic factors. We have the genetic factors, as I was saying. Sickle cell anemia, hemophilia, overbleeding. And sickle cell anemia is what worries many men and women today. Because of that, before they marry, let's go and test. Let's go and test. And they go and test. If you know you are into your partner so deep and you think you test, it will go against you, why do you test? Be very careful. If you test and the results are the opposite, it will go against you. You'll be thinking negatively, thinking that something has occurred, and you'll be angry with yourself all the time. These are pictures of Klinefelter, pictures of Down syndrome, and pictures of what? Turner syndrome. The one at the right hand, your right hand is the Turner syndrome. Middle is the Down syndrome, and the left is the Fragile X. Sickle cell anemia, as I was saying, the only cure we have for it is bone marrow transplant. And how many of us can afford the bone marrow transplant? Such individuals can be catered for by parents. As of the time the parent becomes old and wants the child to help, the child dies. They have a short lifespan. They are always experiencing pains at their joints. They are always experiencing pains at their joints. Why? They have a bricky bony. So such individuals don't engage themselves in rigorous works. They don't do tedious works because their system is so fragile. If they joke, they'll break a bone or their bone will be paining them. Their only way that they can live is to make sure they live healthy. They take the drugs that are recommended. And when they fall ill, they go in for more blood transfusion. These are the signs or the physical markers of sickle cell anemia, episodes of pain, swelling of their feet and hands. And this is the chart. Ideally, the human blood at the left picture, the picture at the left, that's the healthy one. That is how it's supposed to look like in our system. But when you look at the right one, it means you are sickle cell positive, which can go against you. And this is the chart that can help you and I to be able to know whether we're supposed to marry this person or not. So look, go and test and know yourself and get to know whether it is advisable to marry that boy or that man, that woman, that lady, or that girl. This ends the lecture for today. Have a wonderful period. Thank you very much, everyone. Sorry, lest we go. We have the environmental threats, teratogens that can go against us. Alcohol is one. Unprescribed drug is also one. Poor nutrition is also one. Radiation exposure to lead is also one. Lack of exercise is also one. Note them. So when a woman is pregnant, you should engage in exercise, eat well, and don't engage in alcoholism. If you engage in alcohol, this is a picture of the child with fetal alcohol syndrome. Fetal alcohol syndrome. Say ya na oba nimbe say ya enye fe. Obaka so Chinese ni and meanwhile on your Chinese. So that ends our lecture. Let's discuss. Keep your questions. When we meet in class, we shall know what to do with them. Very good. And we are done.